Hello, I'm Blessed Beats with Soundation. In this video, I'll show you how to take a basic EDM beat and turn it into a full-blown banger.
Once again.
All in Soundation online. We created the basic beat in the previous video, so if you haven't seen that yet, make sure to check it out first. This tutorial will be a bit more advanced. We'll start by revamping the instrument patterns to make them more rhythmic and expressive. Then we'll put together an arrangement using transitions and automation effects. You can open up the full project for free, no sign-in or download needed. The link is in the description. Let's dive in. We'll begin with the drums. Here's a basic drum beat. To make it more dynamic, I'll add some extra hi-hats and shakers to fill out the top end and give it that energetic 16th note feel. I'm careful not to place the closed hi-hats and shakers on the same beat, so there's a push and pull groove between them. To make it feel more human and natural, activate the velocity tool and vary the volume of each shaker and hi-hat hit. A tip: don't let the hits right next to each other have the exact same levels. That's where the repetition gets obvious. We'll add some syncopated elements to give the beat more bounce. Syncopation means accenting rhythms in unexpected places to disrupt the regular flow. Try placing some percussion just before or after the beat for maximum effect. Here I'm using a rim shot, congas, bongos, and a second clap. Notice how this brings the beat to life and adds more groove. To boost the energy even more, add a ride cymbal on every beat. Then mark the start of each loop with a crash cymbal on beat 1. Right now, we have a simple bass line that just holds long notes for each chord. Let's spice it up with some rhythm. First, clone the channel and switch to a shorter, snappier instrument. I'm choosing the electro bass. Start by shortening all the notes to 16th note lengths. Then select the first note, hold Ctrl or Command plus D to repeat it until the bar is full. Repeat this for the other bass notes. Add a fakie to give it that pumping effect. Here's how it sounds. You can stop here or take it one step further for more groove. I'll remove the bass notes where the kick hits and delete some more notes where it feels natural. Now it's got a much more infectious groove. You can also accent certain rhythmic moments by shifting some notes up an octave. Select a few notes and press Shift plus up arrow. Instead of octaves, try some other chord tones like the fifth, which is 7 semitones above the root note. Now we got a bass line that's much more energetic and interesting. Let's create some rhythmic chords now. Clone the chord channel, then drag in a new instrument preset. I'm going with a classic house piano. I'll tweak that voicing slightly. To thicken the sound, select and alt-drag the chords to double the octaves. There are lots of rhythmic options to consider, but I'll go with a classic dotted 8th note group. Make sure you're zoomed in so you can see the 16th note grid. Select all notes, shorten them to 8th note length, then hold Alt or Option and drag them right to copy them. Leave a 16th note gap in between. Repeat this 3 more times and skip the gap at the end. This creates the dotted 8th note rhythm, an 8th note plus a 16th note gap, giving it that hypnotic syncopation. Now let's animate those chords with a melodic touch. We'll move the top notes to add melodic embellishments and smooth voice leading. These usually happen toward the end of a chord, guiding the listener into the next one. Since we're in C major, we can stick to white keys. Try anticipating the next chord by starting one of its notes early. You can also use passing notes, walking up or down the scale, and enclosure techniques where you surround a target note before resolving to it. I'm loosely following the same contour as our lead melody. Here's how it sounds. The key to fat EDM chords is layering. Clone the chord channel a few times. Load in some more presets like an electric piano and a super saw. Adjust their octaves to fit the stack, and we'll add the fakie to make them all pump and high pass filters to get rid of the mud. Here's what they all sound like together. Another way to make chords more rhythmic is by using arpeggios, playing individual notes of a chord one after the other. Choose a plucky or percussive instrument, drag it in, copy over the chord MIDI, and adjust the octave if needed. Shorten all the notes, then space them out to form an upward pattern, or go for downward, or up and down, or any variation you like. Select the notes and press Ctrl or Command plus D to repeat the pattern until the next chord starts. Then fill any gap left. Do this for all chords. And add a fakie to make it pump. Check out the results. Let's upgrade the lead to the finest suite. This instrument has glide enabled, which you can see in the sampler. This lets us add expressive pitch slides. If you overlap two notes, the pitch glides from one to the next. You can also add quick notes above or below a sustained one to create decorative trills. It adds so much personality. You can layer the lead just like we did with the chords. Clone it and use different octaves, or with other instrument presets. Adjust the sound any way you want and add the fakie. Here's how the layered leads sound. Now that we built the core elements, let's arrange them into a breakdown, build up, and drop. Select all clips and press Ctrl or Command D to duplicate. Let's make the first 4 bars the breakdown, the next 4 the build up, and then 8 bars for the drop. Keep most elements in the drop because it's the peak of the track. I'll just delete the sustained bass since we only need one bass at a time. In the breakdown and build up, I'll remove everything except the drums, sustained bass, pad, and arpeggio. Trim the end of the instruments to leave half a bar of silence before the drop. That silence helps the drop hit harder. Time to tweak the drums for the breakdown and build up. The breakdown should be chill, so I'll strip it down to just a kick and omit a few kicks at the end to create a mini break. In the first part of the build-up, I'll bring in the clap. Then, for the second part, gradually increase the clap and snare speed to build tension. For the final hits, activate rolls and click to create super fast snares or claps. Leave another half bar of silence before the drop. A fun extra, automate the pitch of the drums during the build-up. Activate automation, click the arrow on the side, and choose the pitch for the drum row. In my case, row 12 for the snare. Drag in upward automation points. Check it out. Let's make the build-up and drop even more exciting with transition effects. These include noise risers, synth risers, and impacts. You could create your own, but using samples is much quicker. Search riser under loops and samples and drag a few into the build-up. Position them to crescendo right before the drop. You might have to stretch and trim them to make them fit. Do the same for impact samples at the start of the drop. You can also add a fakie to these effects to make them pump. Some beatmaker kits include built-in effects you can drop in too. You can also use a reverse cymbal as a transition effect. Search for a cymbal sample and drag it in at the drop. Alt-drag to duplicate it, then right-click and select Reverse Clip. Trim the loudest part and position it right before the regular cymbal. It'll create a nice swell into the drop. Filters and automation help build that rising tension in a track. For a deep dive, check out our tutorial, How to Fix Your Mix with EQ and Filters. In short, add a filter to a channel, either low pass or high pass. Right-click on the cutoff and choose Automation. Draw in automation to gradually rise the cutoff. With a low pass, you go from dark to bright, and with a high pass, you go from full to thin. That tonal rise adds drama to the buildup. Here's how the bass, pad, arpeggio, and riser sound with filter automation. The silent part before the drop is called the pre-drop moment. It's perfect for adding fills or ear candy to build anticipation. Go to Loops and Samples, find some drum and percussion samples, and drag them in before the drop. Trim them up so they fit. We can also add a pre-drop vocal, a short, catchy one-liner. Use the filters to find a vocal sample, drag it in, and trim as needed. If you use both fills and a vocal, make sure they don't clash. In this case, we hear the vocal first, then the fill.
Once again.
To add a more human fill, consider using an acapella or chopped up vocal loops. I'll add a vocal chop loop to the breakdown and build up. Add some delay and a fakie for movement. Now it's up to you to extend the arrangement, adding variation along the way to keep it interesting. Listen to your favorite artists to study their structure. And remember, EDM is all about tension and release. Before we play the full track, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on what you would like to learn in the next video. The full project is linked in the description. Go explore it. See you in the next video.